Well, that's the argument on the other side. You talk about freedom. When people shit on America and they're like, oh, I hate when people talk about Nazi Germany or the Holocaust because it's people who are just using it as a pawn in an argument. The fact that I'm allowed to sit here and say whatever the fuck I want and there's not secret police outside is a beautiful thing. And yes, there are countries where you can also do that, but that is something that's very special. Like, I am not afraid. I'm afraid of some people saying horrible things to me, but I'm not afraid of my financial viability and my family's safety.
Right.
Because I said I don't like a government decision or the president or whatever.
Yeah. Well, that's the level of freedom that we have here that doesn't exist in Iran, for example.
Well,
that's this woman who was killed for not having her headscarf on
Mahsa
properly.
Amini.
It has ignited this wave of protests all over the world and all through Iran where they're just really freaking out and recognizing, like, this has got to fucking change.
So her name was Mahsa Amini, and they have this morality police there. So her hijab was off by like an inch or two. And they will come and take you even if you are properly dressed. It's just this like downer police that comes and they beat her into a coma. Another girl recently, I have goosebumps because I reposted a story about her. Really pretty girl dancing on TikTok, murdered. Like, they just come and take you. And I'm on TikTok and there's footage of this, of these people being arrested and beaten and killed, and they're saying the government is turning off our internet. Please be our voice. And so then you start to think, like, as a woman, as an American, like, how can I help this? You can't like donate money. They're literally saying, please show the world because we can't. And it's happening to girls, normal girls that could be one of your friends. And it's so terrifying. And that's what this uprising is. Like, at a certain point, sometimes just like enough is enough. And that's what they're doing. And I've just done my part in trying to amplify that for them and sharing those videos because I think a lot of people don't know that's happening. We don't live in a world where the government, they control a lot, but like they're controlling your internet. Like, they're not going to turn your internet off because it's privatized. And so that's what's happening with them. And they're in the streets and there's footage of girls like pushing back against guards coming to their schools, trying to arrest them.
Yeah.
Civil unrest in the streets. Families just being murdered, young girls just being killed. I think somebody said something, I don't know if this is right, that like 80% of the population in Iran is like Gen Z or something because of how many people get killed or something. Don't quote me on that, but it's a crazy thing. And this is not, I think it's very easy for people to look at the Middle East and think of it as the way that we portray it in movies, but Iran was a normal, we have a lot of Jews and a lot of non-Jews in LA that are Persian that came there with tons of money. After the ousting of the Shah in the 70s, this was a place that had movie theaters and women wearing skirts and like it was normal, kind of like Afghanistan was at some point. The way that that these women are being treated now, like this was not the way that it always was.
Right.
And they deserve fucking better. Nobody deserves anything even close to this.
It's very scary when a country can decline into a religious dictatorship. The same people that were calling for the ban on Roe v. Wade are now calling for an appeal of same-sex marriage.
Because you give them an inch.
Yeah.
And it's about taking it back to this like 1950s, or we could even say antebellum, because this also plays into race, taking it back to that.
What's antebellum?
Antebellum is like hearkening back to the South. So like,
what does that word mean?
Antebellum, well, that's why like Lady Antebellum had to change the name to Lady A. Antebellum refers to a time in the South pre-slavery, glorifying those days, which I don't think the band meant for that. I think Antebellum's become associated.
What band?
Lady Antebellum.
I don't know what that is.
This was a whole thing a couple years ago. It's a country band, Lady Antebellum. They've got some great songs, and they had to change it to Lady A.
Oh, because of that.
Because of the word.
Much so like is that what the actual definition of antebellum is? Is
yes.
It pre-slavery?
No, during slavery.
Occurring or existing before a particular war, especially the American Civil War.
During slavery.
The Convention of the Antebellum South.
So it harkens back to, mint juleps and having a plantation and
Click
all
on
this
that.
stuff.
What does antebellum literally mean? Before the war. So it means before the
Civil War. This is during slavery. It's glamorizing a time during slavery.
Well, it says it wasn't widely associated with the U.S. Civil War until after that conflict was over. The word comes from the Latin phrase antebellum, literally before the war. So it literally means before any war. But the earliest known print appearance in English dates back to the 1840s.
Right. So in America, it's the Civil War. We're not talking about Iraq.
Right. But they're saying English print, it dates back to the 1840s before the Civil War.
Sure.
There's
So this
also
is
a
all,
difference with the capitalization
but this is
of the
all.
A.
Oh,
My
I
whole
see.
point was it was all romanticizing a time
Right.
when slavery was
Got
legal.
it. Yeah.
And the Dixie Chicks also had to change their name for that reason.
Oh.
So now they're just the Chicks, which sometimes you don't know what band people are talking about.
Well, the Dixie Chicks, do you remember when the Dixie Chicks came out and said that they were embarrassed that
Sure.
George W. Bush was our president and then the fucking South went after them?
Oh, yes.
And they were fucked. Like, I think it kind of tanked their career. 'Cause
So-
they were very popular.
I think it was Natalie. I want to say it was Natalie Maines is the one that said it. And they went. Two of them went to my high school. Their mom was our teacher.
Wow.
What's unfortunate, and this is when we, this was an opportunity for men who hate women to decimate someone, and women who uphold that sort of thinking of, women should keep their
The
mouths shut.
Dixie Chick thing was? Yeah.
I was in a coffee shop in the middle of Texas not long ago, and I have a shirt on that says apologize to the Dixie Chicks. It says the Chicks, and that kind of obfuscates the message, but apologize to the Chicks. And there was a man sitting there. We're in the middle of Texas at a coffee shop, like a local watering hole kind of coffee shop. And you could tell, and he was probably in his 70s, nice Texas man, and he was like, this is our coffee shop. What does your shirt mean? And I explained to him about the Dixie Chicks, how, given everything that's happened, they didn't deserve the hellfire that rained down on them for expressing an opinion. And his opinion was, well, you can't go around saying stuff about your government. It's like, well, you can, actually. It's called freedom of speech. You guys fight for it every day. And I simply said to him, I can get mad at someone for their political opinion, but I strangely draw the line at threatening to kill a woman or rape her over that opinion. And he stepped back and he was like, well, yeah, that's a lot. So I think people don't realize, especially when a woman says something wrong, the types of threats that come down that you might brush off or a guy doesn't think about. But if I get up and I'm like, I hate Joe Rogan, I hate his podcast, and you'll get men that are like, I hope you get raped, I hope you die. And these experiences, and I actually talk about this in my new special, it's a lot funnier than I'm making it sound now, are not just online, they get carried out. People shoot up schools because of their hatred of women.
What school's been shot up because of hatred of women?
University of Santa Barbara, that kid wrote a whole manifesto.
Oh, that's right. That was like the first incel, right?
Montreal.
In terms of like a popular incel where it was discussed.
1989, Montreal massacre. This guy also having an issue with being unfuckable, shot a bunch of people in the name of this. It is the guy that shot up that strip mall in Atlanta had a whole thing about how women don't pay attention to him. Those were Asian women he targeted. So we're talking about, she said something as a political belief, and then by and large, what happens is you do something and then people come at you. You bring a knife to a fight, people come with a gun, literally. These are very real things that women have to think about when you exercise your free speech or just ideas, just as a man would. You have to think about your physical safety. These are very real things. It's the reason I have a security at shows. It's not because of women. It's not because of women coming up to me.
Yeah.
Which they have, and that's not scary. But you never know.
But if a man came out and said, I'm embarrassed that George W. Bush is our president, and he did it like that, he wouldn't have to think about that aspect. It wouldn't be, I hope you get raped.
It might not be rape. People might say violent things about him. You'll
For
get
sure.
people that, but when you and I leave a building at night, you think, we've talked about this, you
Yeah.
think about your walk a lot differently than I do. And I do it naturally. I look around,
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm shocked I have gotten through all those parties unscathed. It's just a different way that you kind of walk through the world. Less impunity. And so I think that's what bothered me about the Dixie Chicks things was she said something and it wasn't at a time where people were exercising free thought like they were because the ubiquity of the internet hadn't taken over.
Right. Like they assassinated the fucking Olympic gold medalist in Russia, in wrestling rather, in Iran because he was protesting against the government. Those national heroes and killed them openly. It's not a good place to live.
Right.
And I'm not saying we should bomb them, but being in support of Iran, the Iranian people, yeah, for sure. But that government is nuts, man. It's trans people for Hamas. You know what I mean? There's people that are just, they're not seeing what you're talking, they're not seeing the big picture.
Yeah, there's so many contradictions out there, man. It's really hard to follow it all.
It's because it's a cult.
And and I think a huge amount of the Iranian population supports Israel too. And it's like you would never fucking know that unless you like talk to them or listen to some of these interviews of these people.
A ton of Persian Jews that moved to Los Angeles. You know, that was like at the fall. I guess it was in the 70s when. So this is the story for people that don't know about Iran. So there was a gentleman who was democratically elected. I forget his name. What is his name? I'm going to fuck it up. So he decided that he was going to nationalize oil in Iran. And they got him out like that. They installed the Shah and turned it into an Islamic dictatorship. But they had access to the oil. So the CIA and the British government and everybody conspired to get rid of this democratically elected guy. Because Iran at the time was like... women were wearing shorts or skirts rather, walking down the street. It looked cool. Here it is. Mohammed Mossadegh. Mossadegh. Okay, so let's zoom in on the story here. It says Iranian Prime Minister Mohammed Mossadegh was removed from power in a coup organized and financed by British and U.S. governments. The Shah quickly returned to take power and signed off over 40% of Iran's oil fields to U.S. companies. It's crazy, man. It's like it's so transparent. They didn't even wait a couple of years. They didn't even, well, the Shah's in power now. We'll see how things go. No, they immediately came in and signed everything off. 1953, the CIA and British intelligence orchestrated a coup d'etat that toppled the democratically elected government of Iran. The government of Mohammed Mossadegh, the aftershocks of the coup are still being felt. 51 Prime Minister Mossadegh roused Britain's ire when he nationalized the oil industry. So the oil, they weren't making money off the oil. They were making money, but not as much money as the British were. Yeah. It had been exclusively controlled by the Anglo-Iranian Oil Company. The company later became known as the British Petroleum.
This
BP.
time it's different, though. We don't
BP,
want the
which
oil
is
this time.
they're the same people that dumped all the oil in the Gulf.
Yeah, exactly.
That's BP. After considering military action, Britain opted for a coup d'etat. President Harry Truman rejected the idea, but when Dwight Eisenhower took over the White House, he ordered the CIA to embark on one of its first covert operations against a foreign government. And Iran's been fucked ever since. I mean, we've been doing stuff like that. Not you and I, not me and Danny Jones. We're innocent. But the United States government, especially the intelligence agencies in the days, before they assassinated Kennedy, they were doing all kinds of wild shit.
Oh yeah.
And
we're done now. We don't do that anymore. They don't do that shit anymore.
They definitely don't.
No. They would never. They don't care a shit about the oil over there.
No, this government's America first now. We're legit.
America first.
It's a crazy history,
bro.
and when you don't know the history, you go like, "Why are we mad at the Iranians?" Well, why are they mad at us? Okay, like what did we do to them? Like why? How did these Islamic jihadists come to power? Like where did it all start? Well, go back to the Mujahideen. We literally changed their definition of jihad. Like we wanted them to become suicide bombers. We wanted them to do things and martyr themselves. So it was. The original definition of jihad, look this up, but I'm pretty sure it was a war against your own vices.
Really?
Yep. Yeah. The idea was you were trying to be a good Muslim, a pure Muslim. You were trying to avoid impure thoughts, no alcohol, all these different things. And they twisted that around with jihadists and through the CIA and Osama bin Laden and the Mujahideen to fight off the Soviet Union when the Soviet Union occupied Afghanistan. Like Osama bin Laden was our guy.
Right.
Yeah. He was working for us.
Yeah.
And he's like, these fucking people suck.
Yeah, there was a story how his pancreas
A struggle
failed.
against the enemies of Islam, a spiritual struggle within oneself against sin. Greatest jihad. Yeah.
It sounds great.
Isn't that interesting? A spiritual struggle within oneself against sin.
Yeah, I mean, just reading it sounds like
so. It seems like it's more than one definition.
There's probably so many bastardized
The other one is
versions.
Declared a jihad against the scroll back down again. Struggle or fight against the enemies of Islam. So it's two things, but they made it.
Yeah.
They did a lot of mind fucking to those people, and they put them on a war that they couldn't win, again, to try to do the same thing that they were doing with the rocket program, with everything else.
Yeah.
They were trying to outspend the Soviets. They were trying to bankrupt them.
Yeah. That part of the world is just like, how much of it has to do with the fact that we've been occupying that area, that part of the world for so long, and like going out there, killing all the bad guys, and then the kids seeing their families being slaughtered, and then like, okay, we're going to eliminate terrorism, let's take out these bad guys. But then the kids grow up and you realize it's just the Hydra. You cut the head off and 3 grow back.
Well, if you want to be even more cynical, we pay them and we arm them.
Yes.
And we left behind billions of dollars of shit in Afghanistan that they use for parades now. They drive down the street with our tanks. Yeah. They have our Black Hawks flying overhead. That's all the shit we left. Billions of dollars. Like, you couldn't have got that out? Well, do you think they leave it there so that these people are always formidable and they always leave open the door to go back in? Yeah. I think so. I don't think that's the primary reason why they did it. But I've got to assume that that would be on the table if it's been on the table in the past. Arming people in the past has always been a thing that we do. I mean, there's a Bill Hicks joke about Iraq. You know, it's like, they have the most deadly weapons. How do you know? Well, we looked at the receipts. I butchered the joke, but But you know, we've always been doing that. Of course, we've done that forever.
Yeah. What's my favorite Bill Hicks joke? At least I'm not like a historian on Bill Hicks, but the one where he's talking about the sock puppets. He's like, I like this guy on the right. He seems like he fits my ideas. He's like, well, I think he'd fancy the guy on the left. He's like, what the fuck? The same guy's holding both the puppets.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, that's perfect. Perfectly illustrates the way it is. You know?
Yeah. And again, this was before we really knew things. This was Bill Hicks was saying this in the 1990s, where we just had books. So, you know, it was really hard to get these ideas across. He would have been a great podcast guest.
Oh, hell yeah.
You know, because he was like saying these things when no one even knew what he was saying, you know, and he was putting it into comedy. You know, like people then were not nearly as aware of the manipulation of money and power. They really thought, a lot of people thought that the will of the people, you know, the president, we got to get a good president in there that's looking out for us. And they didn't really understand that it's all being bought and paid by special interest groups, large corporations, huge donors, and that when the guy gets in there, he's just representing the same thing no matter what. This whole fucking Iran thing, man, like, did you see this coming?
No, definitely. I don't know. I mean, who did? I mean, when did he even decide? You know, their national security strategy they put out in November basically just said we've degraded their capacity. It's a win. There was no sense in which there would be additional action. I think it ushers in a new paradigm. Complete, like the older post-war era is just over. Mark Carney, the Prime Minister of Canada, articulated that at the World Economic Forum, probably better than the Trump administration did, saying very clearly that older rules-based order is gone. You saw AOC try to sort of articulate it, but she sort of fell apart at the Munich Security Conference in February. So this is an administration that is, I mean, and I don't even think they're thinking, I wrote a piece and I decided not to publish it because I was sort of like, decapitation doesn't really work for regime change.
Trump claims that the current regime in Iran is bad and evil, and that this is one of the reasons for the start of the war. Do you think this is true?
But it's not clear that they're really out for regime change, or they're just asserting power, shaking up things. I mean, some of it's art of the deal, changing the person that we're negotiating with. That's Venezuela and Iran. Is it really going to change those regimes? I don't think most people don't think so, but I'm not sure that that's what they're going for. They're just going for an assertion of American power in service of American interests. And then what happens in Iran, what happens in Venezuela, I don't think they care that much about. At least they're not behaving as though they do.
Well, neither thing made any sense to me. The Venezuela thing, I mean, look, they wanted him out forever, and he definitely stole the election to get in there in the first place, and he was a dictator. But at least that one was at least clean. They go in, kidnap him, get him out. This one's nuts. Like, in what's happening in Tel Aviv, it's hard to know what's real and what's not because there's a lot of fake video going around.
What are the fake videos that you're thinking of?
There's just like fake videos of, you know, like an insane amount of bombs dropping down on the city. But it seems like there's a massive amount of destruction in Tel Aviv.
Yeah, I haven't checked in lately, but I'm assuming. Was that just today or?
Yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the president is... There's been some, you know, Rubio said something about how, we had to act because we knew that Israel was going to act anyway. And I think people interpreted, and then Netanyahu was in the White House a lot. I think this president has shown, whether you like him or not, and there's certainly things that I'm unhappy about and have criticized, but I think Trump is in charge. Like, he's making these decisions. There's nobody behind him. There's nobody pulling for all of that. The Russians or whoever, or the Israelis. It's just he's clearly. I mean, Elon gave him $250 million, and he still he didn't give him even the electric car credit. Like Trump is in charge. I think that's one of the big lessons from this, and I think that means that there's not a lot of second order thinking here. Like, oh, what's the move after that? He doesn't know. He's just acting. That's what's so wild about it, is that this older foreign policy establishment, which, was like, let the experts decide what the right foreign policy, all these think tanks, that's just gone now. It's just irrelevant in this presidency. And I don't think it'll come back. Like, if you get a Gavin Newsom or a President AOC,
President who?
I don't think, yeah.
For real?
I think she, for a minute, before Munich. But I don't think it's going to come back, and I think that that's what the Prime Minister of Canada realized. I think that's what the Europeans are starting to realize, is that this is a completely different world that we live in than the one we lived in just a couple of years ago.
Which just doesn't make any sense to me unless we're acting on someone else's interests, like particularly Israel's interests. Just didn't make any sense to me. Like, if they had supposedly dismantled their chances of making a nuclear bomb.
He was unsatisfied, and just like he was like, I'm not getting anywhere in these negotiations, and I'm going to replace the person I'm negotiating with. It's just, turn over the table, like, change things up. You're not getting anywhere. And you could say he was too impatient. Their view was the Democrats were too patient with Iran. They kept trying with Iran. They weren't giving them what they wanted. I'm not defending it. I'm just saying I think that's what explains it. They haven't done a very good job explaining it, because I think that it just sounds to some extent like what it is, which is that they're acting without. They're sort of like, well, does it result in regime change in Iran? We don't know. They might say that we want that or whatever, but that's not ultimately. They're not acting on the basis of achieving regime change.
What just seems so insane based on what he ran on. I mean, this is why a lot of people feel betrayed, right? He ran on no more wars and these stupid, senseless wars, and then we have one that we can't even really clearly define why we did it.
Well, but he said he's against endless wars.
Well, they're
running
all
against endless wars.
Listen, man, they're all endless. Did
Well,
you ever hear Rumsfeld talk about Iraq when it first happened?
Tell me.
They were talking about like 6 weeks. 6 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
6 weeks.
Yeah. But they put that was ground force, and I know that they've not ruled that out. For me, that would be.
They have?
They have not.
Oh,
my understanding is
no,
that they have not. Yeah.
I thought you said and now.
Yeah.
Have now.
No. But they don't seem eager to go into. I mean, I criticize the Venezuela action because I sort of was like, how are you possibly going to run Venezuela? And then I think a little bit more time passed, and I was like, oh, they're not going to try to run Venezuela. Like, that's not what this is. They
just wanted to take over the oil.
Yeah, and even there, I mean, the oil, it's not significant at any global level. It's hard. I don't even think it's really about the oil. I don't think it's about the oil. I don't think it's about the oil in Iran either.
Well, the oil reserves are significant. It's just the type of oil and how to extract it is extremely difficult. So what, if anything, makes sense to you about this attack in Iran?
I don't know that I'm not sure what I think of it. I mean, I don't like it. I mean, the whole older system was that you had this international, Security Council would have to agree. The Congress would have to agree. That's all gone now. I mean, it's just a totally different. This guy is just acting. He says he's not getting where they want to get in the negotiations with the Iranians, so he says we have some leverage over you, and we're going to use it. Similarly,
but clearly, Israel wanted this.
Israel has its own motivations, I think.
Yeah,
but I think it's not quite accurate to say that. I just don't think. I think all the evidence shows that Trump is his own man, and he is the president. And like literally, he couldn't even give Elon the battery subsidy that he wanted. You know what I mean? It's like
I get that.
I've never seen a politician act that independently. A president act that independently. I think he listens to everybody, but I just don't think it's. Russians aren't behind him. Israelis. I mean, Trump is. Look what he's been through. I mean, he's got where he is. There's no way he's gonna. They don't have anything on him. That's
how
my
do you
view.
know that?
I don't think they have anything on him.
But how do you know
behave
that
way?
Well,
they could, but I'm not. We don't see any evidence for it.
Well, you wouldn't see any evidence until it broke out, until they released it.
Yeah, and we'll get it. I'm sure we'll get into Epstein, but I mean, I just think when you don't have evidence of something, then you can't assume that it's happening. I haven't seen any evidence. I've seen evidence that Trump is fully independent. With it, particularly this case of Elon, surprised me. I would have thought at a minimum, you'd give your largest campaign contributor the one thing he wants. I mean, Doge was something he wanted too, but and then I look at Iran and I kind of go, Trump has always won. I mean, Trump has been criticized. He said he doesn't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon for a really long time. I don't know the exact date, but certainly.
Well, no one wants Iran to have a nuclear weapon other than Iran.
Also, put it this way, he was also critical of the Democrats' approach, which was the sort of the mainstream IAEA approved approach, because of course, under international law, Iran has the right to nuclear energy and to nuclear facilities, including the centrifuges and the enrichment. Iran has the right to all that under international law, and Trump doesn't agree with that, and he's not going to let international law get in his way.
So, when you say he has a right to it, you're talking just about nuclear power, right?
Right, but that includes enrichment. So
to a certain point,
right?
But they've already surpassed that point, right?
Yeah, and I believe if I'm wrong, I'll correct it on X. But I don't think it specifies the level of enrichment is part of the issue, and then you've got these centrifuges, and so it's all been a cat and mouse game. I personally do not doubt for a minute that Iran wants nuclear weapons, and that's what's been going on. I think most people think that, but the Obama administration was like, we can lift sanctions in exchange for controlling their nuclear program. Trump has not for a very long time agreed with that approach. I think he was criticizing it for many years before 2016, before he decided to run, but definitely for the last 10 years.
Did you read the thing today that came out that they're discussing some sort of a leak transmission that seems to be an activation of terror cells?
Iranians have?
Yeah.
But I'm not surprised.
Right.
Sounds bad.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that obviously, that was the first thing I thought of, was like, oh great, are we going to get a bunch of Iranian suicide bombers in the United States now? It's obviously...
I don't know if it's going to be suicide bombers, but I would imagine it would be something a little bit more destructive than that.
Could be. I don't know what they can get in. I mean, Sean Ryan's been having folks on that say that people are getting in with heavy artillery. I just don't know the status of it.
Well, the real problem is
they can do
for 4 years the border was wide open.
Oh yeah,
and definitely some people from the Middle East got through, and we have no idea like what is wait. I mean, I'm sure there's some intelligence agencies that have an understanding of what the threat is.
I hope so. I mean, I think we see that these terrorists are able to do an incredible amount of damage with pretty simple rifles, and sometimes. Was it the French, the club, that particular terrorist action? There were other people that were using bombs that like only killed 1 or 2 people, but the guys with the machine guns were able to gun down like dozens of people. So certainly that's scary. I think none of us want. I think that's where a lot of Americans, when it happened, the reason so many people were against it, I believe a majority is against it, is because you're like, great, what do we, First of all, is it going to be another endless war? And second of all, are we going to get a bunch of terrorist actions here? I think if we did, I don't think support for the war goes up. I think it goes down.
Oh, for sure.
What do you think? I'm Israel. You're the Palestinians in Gaza. If every one of the people in Gaza laid down the arms and stopped attacking, what would Israel do to you?
It's a good question.
Nothing. They've tried it 5 different times. They've literally stop attacking. Israel has never, not one time in history, initiated any conflict. Every single one of those things that you're pointing to is a retaliatory attack by a terrorist organization. But if that was switched, where I, Israel, you, Hamas in Gaza, I take all of my arms and all of my protection and I laid them down, what would Hamas do? They would kill every single one of us. That's what they do. That's what they're sworn to do. That's their motto and the origin of their existence, all the way back to the Grand Mufti traveling to Hitler to ask, how do we solve the Jewish problem? Like, you want to follow from the Hamas to the Muslim Brotherhood, all the way back to the Grand Mufti, to Mujahideen, and you see the origins of one thing, which is, how do I solve the Jewish problem, is to eradicate and kill them. That is what Hamas came from. Not the Palestinians, not those poor people stuck in Gaza. But in that problem, if all of Hamas just went away, we would have peace. If they laid down their arms and they stopped murdering innocent civilians and raping women and killing babies, you'd have peace. if the other side laid down their arms, they would all be murdered, all 7.5 million of them, until they just were walking in blood through the Jordan River. How do you solve this problem? The radicals have to be eliminated. The terrorists have to go away. That is not, I'm not conflating the Palestinians and the terrorists. Those are separate things. But if there's 2.5 million people that are living in Gaza that are allowing 30,000 terrorists to run them, at some point, the olive branch cannot be extended from Israel when 30,000 people are using that region to launch attacks into their sovereign nation.
And we were talking about the propaganda that exists in America. What about the propaganda that exists in Palestine? I mean, what is their thought?
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So, like, did you see the hospital that got destroyed?
Well, it didn't really, right?
No, it did not really.
No, but the New York Times said it did.
Yes,
the New
it
York
did.
Times said it was
And
an
congresswomen.
which is insane, and they didn't retract it. They
Yeah.
said
You
it
take
was
horse dewormer, and and Israel destroyed a hospital.
yeah.
So evil.
It's so crazy that they printed that in the New York Times. I mean, that's the paper of record. That's the most important newspaper that we have in America in terms of if we wanted an objective source of information. Most people say, what's the best? Look, I used to deliver the New York Times when I was a kid. And I did it. It wasn't even that profitable. I delivered the Boston Globe was my main newspaper that I delivered. And then I delivered the Boston Herald as well. And then I got a New York Times route, and I was proud of that because the New York Times was the real newspaper that intelligent people read.
Yeah.
And it was a different plastic wrapper.
Yeah, yeah.
You got a
It was like
clear...
that's
you
the
got a
good stuff.
clear wrapper for the Herald and a clear wrapper for the Globe, but for the New York Times, I got a blue wrapper. And I was like one of the people that got to deliver the New York Times. And I remember thinking as a 20-year-old kid, like, oh boy, I'm delivering the New York Times. And when I would drop the paper off at these people's houses, like, that's a fucking smart house. These people are reading the New York Times in
they are.
Boston. And I remember thinking that I was proud of that I delivered the best newspaper in the world. Really, I literally wasn't that much money, and it was a crazy route because I'd have to go like a mile in between houses. Whereas like with the Boston Globe, I'd have like 5-6 houses on one street that I would drop off papers to. And the New York Times, I'd have this fucking crazy route. I'd have to go all over the place to get rid of 100 newspapers.
Yeah, and then now in 2023, they're circulating terrorist propaganda.
Yeah, and with no
recourse.
repercussion, no repercussions. And what do they make? Did they even print a retraction? Did they say we fucked up?
You watch a missile get launched from Gaza. You know, 1/3 of all missiles that are launched from Gaza land in Gaza. Do you know think about how sad that is?
Is that real?
28% of missiles launched from Hamas land on top of the Palestinian people.
Jesus Christ.
And obviously, they have no ability to direct any military target when these crappy missiles are being launched into Israel. They're just like populated area. Populated. I went and did a Fox News stand up in the city directly north of Gaza. That is the most rocketed city in all of Israel. And in like the one day that we were there, we had like 6 rocket attack sirens go off. You know, it's the weirdest thing that the Palestinians are allowing Hamas to literally kill them and pillage everything about their existence from them. Hamas is so rich and so powerful. $70 million from Iran. You know, every humanitarian ship that comes into the port, or right now that is being brought up through the Rafah Gate via Egypt into the south portion of Gaza, the moment that lands there, that is taken control of by Hamas. They then build underground infrastructure in the tunnels, and they build military infrastructure, and then they turn as whatever they can into rockets. And the humanitarian aid that is supposed to be distributed to the people, they have control of. Like, they have to go. Not the Palestinians. They have been so screwed by Hamas.
But the propaganda
and by the PLO.
that they encounter in Palestine has to be insane.
Yeah, they believe that they're on the good side. How do they sift through fact from fiction when what they're being told and being fed is being fed to them by Hamas? Like, how do
they get access to other information? And how do they ever like organize and discuss this openly without fear of losing their lives and being tortured?
The only time that you had consistent water and power going into Gaza was when Israel was controlling Gaza. Now that Hamas is running it, it is nightmarish in there. But they're still in charge. And they're being protected. And here in the United States, being like called freedom fighters. Like, they are barbaric murderers and absolute terrorists that want nothing besides the genocide of when I saw like the LGBTQ flags of LGBT stands with Hamas, mind is blown.
Isn't it hilarious that have you ever seen that meme that it says queers for Palestine and then Palestine for queers? Like, yeah.
They wouldn't live there like hours. They'd be pushed off a rooftop or burnt alive immediately.
But they don't. But the narrative in this country is not that. Which is so strange. I don't know. That like there's sort of overwhelming evidence about the approach that they have to gay people.
Yeah.
But yet somehow or another, there's this I stand with Palestine thing that makes you a progressive.
Go to Tel Aviv as a gay person. Walk around with your gay pride shirt with your husband or wife of the same sex. Nobody will bat an eye at you. Nobody cares. Everybody's like, what up? Like normal. Man, if she and her wife tried to walk down the road in Gaza, oh man. And it is so, this tinderbox that is that region with the West Bank, with the Golan Heights in the north, with Hezbollah, which is being supported by Iran. They're all positioned on the border, with Iraq allowing people from Afghanistan, the Taliban, to move through. Taliban being funded by us, $40 million right now is what we're continually giving them, the Taliban.
Why do we do that?
I don't know. I don't know.
What's the cynical side of you?
We want to recognize them as a legitimate government, and we are paying for them to start a democratic process of like that. That is I think would be the tagline of what we want them to do. What it is actually doing is the same thing that happens when we release $6 billion to Iran in exchange for hostages. They then take that $6 billion. No, they're not using that exact money to fund terrorism with Hezbollah or Hamas, but I have one bank account that has an additional $6 billion in it, and now I'm able to spend $6 billion over here to finance other things that are going to destabilize the nation that I have sworn to eradicate, Israel and America. So like, cool, I'll happily give some more money to, they've been planning this for 4 years. The Quds, like the Iranian special operations guys, training and preparing Hamas, advising on how to execute this. How do they get the intelligence to know what direction they need to fly with their paragliders, which areas, which you don't think they had scouts in all the kibbutzes around Gaza to identify which houses they're going to be targeting? How did they find all that stuff out? The people that Israel was allowing out of Gaza to work as agricultural workers, they were going into these areas, into these kibbutzes, into these houses, into these villages, doing recons for Hamas. So then when Hamas launched their attack on October 7th, they'd been funded. There's this amazing book called The New Rules of War. And The New Rules of War lines out all of the ways that America is not prepared to fight a war. By non-state actors, by corporations, by cartels, by violent extremist organizations, using proxy methods. So like we are at war with Iran, period. They are funding every single group that just attacked our American base in Syria, that attacked our American base in Iraq, that attacked and killed a bunch of Americans in Israel. That was funded by Iran and trained by Iran. but we don't have the appetite to try and fight the war that they're fighting because they're doing it in just such a, we want that World War II, right? We want Patton standing on top of a tank, coming across, being like, there's Rommel, go and get him. Like that war is never going to happen again. And we are just not ready to fight this new type of war under these new rules of war, which is fighting non-state actors, fighting proxy wars, fighting corporations funded by governments, fighting cartels that are getting subsidized by governments, all to destabilize the greatest nation to ever exist in the history of mankind, us.
You were saying that you think we're more vulnerable now than we've ever been before, and you're legitimately worried that the United States might fall.
I am more worried now because of the lack of preparedness of the individual. Americans are fatter than they've ever been. They are, even though there's more guns now owned, there are fewer per capita owned by individual with people that train regularly with them, people that are able to provide and protect for their families. All the metrics of measurements of like, that family's going to be okay. That is the smallest that it's ever been. And our government right now is more vulnerable internationally than we've ever been. Our military is, even though I'm so proud to be a service member, when the Army tells me to do something, I 100% have no say whatsoever. I got to go and do it. And I'm really proud to be part of the most elite fighting force on the planet. I think we are the weakest that we've ever been for a variety of reasons. When you put all of these things together and you just take a step back and like the aggregate, like the accumulation of all of these different factors make me be like, holy crap, we are vulnerable. And the only way to combat that is the individual to start taking their own security and preparedness seriously. Get less fat, get more healthy, go and train, go and buy a gun, go start exercising your freedoms. Like learn what it means to volunteer in your school. So you have like, cool, you can't start your own school. Cool, you can't homeschool. Well, get involved in your kid's school. Like you got to do something because if we continue down the path that we're in, we're done for. Like soon, not in like a generation, like right now. I'm scared. I'm gonna drink water.
Jesus Christ. So that there was one other thing that we wanted to talk about when we first started. One of them was Jeffrey Epstein. Do you remember what the other one was? You were going to show me the Jeffrey Epstein, so I'm such a child.
There's
I'm
the
like,
Gervais thing, and then George Lopez's comment.
Oh, that's it. So, and then there's a bounty on Trump's head.
I guess. I don't know how anyone heard it or where they listed it, but I read it on Twitter, and then people were making jokes about it.
How much is the bounty?
$80 million from somewhere in Iran, or I don't know.
If you go to Bet DSI, you can.
Dude, imagine if they nuke Trump. Where does the world stand if they only drop one nuke and it's on the White House? Small one, little baby nuke. Just levels the entire building and everything near it.
Well, Iran dropped out of the nuclear accord, so they're going to start enriching uranium again.
Trump, though, tweeted, Iran does not have any nuclear weapons, exclamation point, hashtag something.
Right, but they can get them.
Yeah.
This is so crazy. This seems like, for the first time in a long time, I'm thinking we could go to war with a country. Like, this seems crazy.
The internet jumped into World War III memes immediately.
Instantly.
24 hours of straight jokes.
What do you think happens?
I don't know. I don't even know what's happening right now. Stuff could be happening right now.
What did the guy do? Because Dan Crenshaw was saying that he organized the attack on the embassy and that he was organizing other attacks on U.S. sites.
He was a bad guy, supposedly. There is some stuff saying like he is a bad guy. It's just how Trump did it is how the problem. Right. He did help fight ISIS a lot, also. So he wasn't. He was a really bad guy, but there was points like the biggest problem is that Trump just went out and pretty much assassinated him. Right. Like instead of dealing with it like an adult.
Do you imagine when they went through all those other like really finely detailed points? This is a strategy we can employ, or we could just take him out with a missile.
Did he? I read he was trolling Trump too, like trolling him on Twitter. I don't know if that was true. Like that guy had
That
an
Iranian
account.
guy was?
Yeah, and it's like publicly
Oh my
talking shit to him.
God! Could you imagine if that guy was trolling Trump and Trump killed him?
Yeah.
Oh my God!
He was talking about his hands or something.
Oh my God! Imagine you talking about his orange skin, his fake hair, his fucking baby hands. And he's like, oh yeah, fucking baby hands. Oh my God! He got into a meme battle with Trump.
I hope this. I might have googled it too quick. It could be a fake site. I don't think it is.
The Daily Dot,
but-
is that a fake site?
Maybe it was too quick. I don't know.
The Daily Dot.
I don't
Is that
know.
a real website?
I'm trying to confirm.
Okay.
This other side. These other things look real. I
Keep
think.
us posted.
Okay.
I don't want to comment just
Yeah, yeah.
yet because I have a feeling I have a lot to say about this.
I want to see what the memes are.
It's so crazy, man. It's so crazy that this situation that we find ourselves in, when none of us who are listening to this had anything to do with any of this shit that might kill 1 million people. None of us. And then our leaders, like that we've been so roped into this fucking Game of Thrones mentality that our leaders are going to make these critical decisions for us, and they're going to be in charge of what kind of diplomacy we employ on other nations. They're going to represent us in the most personal way possible, like the way he does it. Like the way Trump does it, that's personal. That's how he is. So he's standing for us, but he's standing up for himself as a person. There's part of that too, right? Like he doesn't want to be fucked with. He wants you to know the United States is not going to be fucked with me in charge. They're like, yeah. So it's like him. He's the one out there. And he's the one they go, you can just nuke the guy. He's like, well, fuck, I'll just nuke him. Commander of the Islamic Revolution Guards Corps, Force Major General, how do you say his name? Qasim Soleimani? Qasim?
I don't know how to say the first name. Soleimani, I think.
Soleimani responded to U.S. President Donald Trump's announcement of sanctions are coming with a Game of Thrones inspired meme of his own.
Oh my gosh.
And it says, I will stand against you. And it has the Game of Thrones like O and U. So he put that up, and then Trump.
Yeah, this is a couple months ago, but I
But
think,
he
yeah.
remembers.
This is
bro.
November
Actually, it
2018.
was a year ago.
Bro,
so.
he's got that speed memory. Trump can remember shit. This motherfucker owes me since the 70s.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. A guy memes you, and then you murder him. Woo! Jesus Christ. Baked Alaska better hide.
And it was a Game of Thrones thing.
So crazy. It's so crazy that these worlds have collided. And then, what do you think? Putin is probably laughing his ass off right now. He's probably got his feet up on the chair, smoking a cigar, just laughing and laughing, watching this chaos play out. And then for sure, he's going to help Iran. For sure. Anything that destabilizes his number one competitor. That's what China's going to do too. This is so dumb. It's also scary. But it's also one of those things where we don't know what the fuck is going on. So it could have been the right move. We don't know. I mean, it might have been the thing you have to do to avoid more deaths. China, Russia, and Iran hold joint naval drills in the Gulf of Oman. Oh, terrific.
That's great.
China, Russia, and Iran together. We're getting into some World War III shit here. That's World War III. That is like when Italy was joined in Germany. I mean, that's what that is.
We should probably get away from the coast.
Bro, imagine if this fucking guy gets us into World War III by deciding to do that and then have all these crazy threats. See, the rest of the world does not want to think. This is one of the things. Like, if you think you're the baddest motherfucker and you represent the baddest country, you got to kind of almost be like a real baddest motherfucker. Like a guy like Stipe Miocic, like a UFC heavyweight champ. They don't go around saying they're going to kick everybody's ass because everybody already knows it. And if you start saying that you're going to be able to do whatever you want and maybe even do it in a disproportionate manner, all the other countries are like, why do you have any power? Like, who are you, man? And they say, like, we're really powerful. We all get together, bitch. You're pretending you're more powerful than everybody? That's a weird thing to do. It's a weird chest-puffing strategy to take on a country that has allies. That's where it gets fucked up. It's not just Iran. It's all Iran's allies. They all get together. Now you have a giant force of people and nuclear weapons. Congratulations. Did you guys play chess or did you play checkers growing up? How the fuck are you just a tic-tac-toe ace and you didn't see this coming? This is why it's really important to have, people have to be able to talk. Have to be able to have dialogue.
You see this tweet that he said before the one? Yeah,
targeted 52 Iranian sites representing the 52 American hostages taken by Iran many years ago. Bro, that was during the Carter administration. I think we can let that go. These are not the same fucking people. Those people are all dead. That's crazy. So this is more team mentality. But that'll get the yokels. All the fucking, all the dudes just jump off the tractor, jacking off into the fields, and they hear that. Like, yeah, fucking get him, Trump. Woo! This shit could get hot. This could get hot and it could get real. And if he really has the ability to do that, what other calls does he have the ability to do? Is there ever going to be another moment like that where Iran boxes in a ship and then he sends in a fighter jet? I mean, is this going to really fucking happen? Because then none of us can go anywhere. We have to hide. And we got to get out of LA because they're definitely going to nuke that. Like, this is because... Imagine the movie if it all played out like that in like a Stephen King movie made a thing about a game show host that eventually becomes the president of the United States and starts a war while he's on speed.
I do that every day when I'm really high.
Well, now I'm getting there. I was not getting there before. This was enough to make me go, holy shit. Like, is there a better way to handle that than... blasting that guy with a robot from the sky? Like, what did we start? I don't know, man. I don't want to know. Right? You don't want to know that all over the world, these little pieces are in motion that are trying to protect us from terrorists, trying to make sure that they stop ISIS, and this sect is growing here, and these people are getting shot there, and then what about the cartels, and they're getting up this much? If you would be paralyzed by fear, if you took in all the information on all the fucking danger all over the world, you'd be paralyzed by fear.
So when I was in Vegas while this was happening this weekend, if you didn't look at your phone, you wouldn't have known any of this was going on. No, I didn't hear anybody talking about it.
Yeah, I didn't either.
All around.
That was the good thing about being off social media, and this was my point in the first place. By the time things get to me, it's already been sort of distributed better. I'll get I don't have to jump on right away, and then it becomes the focus of my day long before we know anything. And I keep refreshing CNN every 5 minutes. I'm scared, like legitimately. This is like for the first time in a long time since like 9/11 where I'm legitimately like, oh, this is some real shit. This could be really bad. Because if he says he's going to do something in a disproportionate manner, he's threatening them. He's calling their bluff. Bro, this is so dangerous. So dangerous. Because all they have to do is just nuke Hawaii. Do something like that. Where the rest of the world would be like, hey, what are we going to do? We're going to kill each other everywhere? Everyone? Because that's what could happen. This like mutually assured destruction was always supposed to be the big impediment. That mutually assured destruction. If we knew that if we shot them, they'd shoot us, we'd all be dead. That's what kept us from using bombs. But who the fuck knows, man? What if Iran just says, listen, if we just sneak a bomb in, by the time it's detonated, they won't even have a chance to respond. The whole system will be fucked. Their grid will be down. All their entertainment will be down. Everything will be down. And then the rest of the world can figure out a way to unite together and take over the power that the United States once enjoyed. They were abusing that power. They were the number one superpower in the world, and they let their guy take diet pills and threaten everybody on Twitter. I don't know if he takes diet pills. He had them in his dresser, but I don't even know if those are his. I just want to say.
But listen, if we go to Iran, because I was going to get rid of this joke at the 20-year-olds in the audience that we're bringing back the draft and you're going for sure. And don't try to gay your way out. We're going. Iran, they want that Iran war so bad. And Trump has brought so many snakes to his bosom again, like that Mike Waltz dipshit.
Why do you think they want to do that?
The Greater Israel Project, the thing Wesley Clark talked about back when they mapped out all the countries they wanted knocked out, Libya, Iraq. We've got all of them except Iran, I think. Syria, we got our Al-Qaeda guys in there, so great job, everyone.
Jesus Christ.
People from Syria, if you ever talk to them, yeah.
out of all the things that the government has fucked up, this regime change thing, they fucked that up more than anything. Like, has it ever worked out better for the people that lived there? Think about how
That's
many
not the
people
goal.
died during. I know, I understand.
Yeah.
But I think about like trying to sell the same thing over and over and over
It's
again.
insulting, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, because
Yeah.
every single time it's been a fucking disaster.
Even an idiot could put it like me.
Yeah.
When I remember the day where I was like, it was probably 2015 or 16. I was like, are we still in Iraq? Like it felt like I left the oven on.
And we're hearing the same thing, like weapons of mass destruction. They're this close. They're this close.
Oh, by the way, everyone, if we do go to war, and if you're dumb enough to sign up to go to Iran, just so you know, we can't beat Iran. We haven't won a war in 80 years. I don't know why everybody seems to forget that we don't win these wars. I mean, somebody wins. It ain't you. It ain't you fighting it. That's for goddamn sure. But all of them have hyper. So if we go to bomb Iran, Iran has hypersonic missiles that we do not have. So think of how much money.
They do?
Oh, yes.
How do you know what the military has?
Oh, we did a story on it. And I was like this. I'm like, are you shitting me? We don't have the best missiles? No. We were doing things like
Well,
using
wait a minute.
Ukraine
There's a
as
lot of
missiles.
stuff that the United States always possesses that are top secret. Like there's certain videos that they will not show allegedly of UFOs because then it would reveal the kind of surveillance equipment that they have available and where the surveillance equipment is, including underwater stuff.
Well, the really good stuff I doubt America has. It's the people in charge of America have, but not America. But these missiles, they can't stop them with like Iron Dome kind of shit.
No,
they can't.
They're too fast.
And so
they change direction.
Yeah, Russia has. It's not the same as like a NATO alliance, but they have signed a thing with China and Iran.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so the war with Russia that we're supposed to avoid by this Ukraine thing, that's, I guess Zelensky gave the minerals already to UK a long time ago, which is why Boris Johnson sabotaged the peace deal before, I'm guessing, among other crazy reasons. And so if we go bomb Iran, that might bring Russia into his world. Somebody wants World War III real bad.
Jesus Christ, you're freaking me out, Kurt.
I got great news. Oh, this is my Timber Sycamore shirt.
What is that?
That's the operation where Obama started, to get rid of Assad, install an Al-Qaeda leader in Syria.
Wait a minute, it has a T-shirt?
No, I have a charity called Shirts for Kurtz where I take the names of operations. I go, make me a T-shirt that I will wear around that looks like a band or something. So I got some good. This guy, Fret Pound, his name is, sent this to me. He sent it to the club.
So what are you wearing? Timber Sycamore, classified weapons supply and training program run by the United States Central Intelligence Agency and supported by the United Kingdom and some Arab intelligence services, including Saudi intelligence.
Yeah.
The aim of the program was to remove Syrian President Bashar al-Assad from power. Launched in 2012 or 2013, it supplied money, weaponry, and training to Syrian opposition groups fighting Syrian government forces
Al-Qaeda.
in the Syrian civil war. There's a lot of Syrians.
That's
in
where
there.
we armed Al-Qaeda. So
Yeah.
any guys watching out there, if you got, or gals, you got any limbs blown off guard in a poppy field for a warlord, Al-Qaeda, we installed them. We're back together with them. We're cool again. So you don't have to shoot
they're
them
not
if you see
all
them.
bad guys. Kurt.
Al-Qaeda?
Cut them some slack.
I like
what did
Al,
I send,
but Qaeda, I'm
What
not
did I
into.
send you something earlier today?
Oh, I didn't look at it. The Sean Ryan thing?
About heroin.
I brought to light how we are sending $40 to $87 million to the Taliban for about a year now. It's more than that. I've mentioned it quite a few times, and I've seen the back before the State Department said they accidentally gave them the money.
Yeah.
You know how we left the wrong way and left all our stuff and didn't disable? We thought it was disabled, but it wasn't. Well, that's the lithium triangle that Afghanistan's in. So I'm sure that's part of the deal. We give them all our stuff. Hey, they played a good game. Give them some helicopters. And we can train terrorists there because most of the Islamists came from us or Saudis or Israel or Pakistan, most of them. And we paid them like $100 million out of the State Department. Maybe it was the USAID. I don't know. But a dude who showed me a video of it that he wouldn't text it to me. He was like scared to text it to me. But this guy used to be he had international press pass. He showed me video of these Taliban guys. They made like a fort out of American money. They made like a way more than a chest high wall of money.
Jesus Christ.
And so he wouldn't send it to me. But then 2 weeks later, it comes out in the news that they accidentally. So they slipped in that they gave it to them, but they have lithium there because that's the name of the game, right?
I'm going to send you
Minerals.
this Sean Ryan thing, Jamie.
So he's right what he's saying, but I'm like, you weren't aware of this earlier, Sean? As a guy that ran a cartel or whatever. That's where he came from. He's in Colombia running a drug network. They don't just let Americans do that unless they're like, come on.
Well, he was openly working for the government, right? When he was doing that?
Oh, you don't think he was selling the drugs on behalf of the government?
But what I don't know what he's even admitted to doing.
It's a Kim.
By the way, I really like this guy. I know you have issues with him. I
don't have any personal issues
I like
with
him a lot.
Well, I don't have any personal issues.
I think
I don't want to say that. He's a killer.
There's guys that get into the military, start working for the government, become agency people, get hired to do jobs all over the world, and I know a bunch of them. And they're some of the most interesting people I've ever met.
100%.
But they don't agree with the way things are being run. And if they've done that and then they step out and then they start talking about it like Sean Ryan, you got to kind of like...
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
That everything you're saying is perfectly reasonable. Now I remember when the guy who blew up his own Tesla outside of Elon's...
Oh, yeah.
He had this like skull and he was like, oh, we just got word that I got this email, and then and all of a sudden, next thing he's in another, and we're not talking about it no more. That's that's very oppy.
Well, it is, but it also could be if you don't like. How long has Sean Ryan been doing a show?
I don't know. He came out of nowhere.
One thing that does happen is you get duped. We've been duped before. I've had people on the podcast where I'm like, this guy's kind of a con artist. Like, you get duped. And you get duped with stories. You get duped. People send you stuff that's not real. They send you down these rabbit holes that are stupid. If you're not seasoned in this, and I'm still fucking up all the time. But if you haven't done a lot of these kind of podcasts where you're talking about controversial issues, sometimes you say something that's not totally accurate, or maybe the people that are telling you the information aren't who they say they are. Maybe you're being purposely fed misinformation. It's fucking hard to figure it out sometimes.